Hey everyone, so this is my review of American Horror Story Apocalypse, episode 1 called The End, and essentially what this episode is about is that when nuclear war was just complete devastation over the land, a select few are put into this bunker that's known as Outpost 3, which is run by this very tyrannical matriarch. And this was such a good first episode, and probably out of all the seasons, at least what I'm thinking right now, probably my absolute favorite first episode, because it just got right in there with everything. Where what I was expecting for the first episode was that it would be like much of the other first episode, where it mostly was just about like introducing all these sort of characters that we would be following and stuff like that. And this episode did have that, but it also just started right off with the bombs dropping, and I was not expecting that. I was expecting the bombs to drop either at the end of this episode, at the earliest is what I was expecting, but not at the beginning of the episode. So that took me by surprise right away, that it was just get right into the chaos and then introduce all the characters and stuff like that. And I just found that really interesting and really, really amazing, because it just, like I said, it just got right in there with the devastation and the apocalypse and stuff like that. So then pretty much all the rest of the season, it looks like, will be the aftermath after the bombs dropping, which is what I was expecting, but like I said, I wasn't expecting it to be right away. Then the beginning characters that were introduced to at the start of the episode with Coco and Mallory and the rest of the group there was an interesting sort of storyline with this really rich lady and some of her acquaintance getting on this plane to go and save themselves from the bomb and stuff. They got like this special pass and stuff because Coco was really rich. And that was interesting to see, with Coco deciding to leave her husband behind because of the fact that he was taking too long to get to the plane and they were starting to get under attack. And I'm really hoping that that comes back into play, that somehow her husband survived and that he's going to get his revenge, or something's going to show up with him. Or maybe he even comes back as a ghost, because of the fact that a lot of the ghosts are going to become more prevalent, it looks like, in this season. So maybe that's how he comes back, to sort of get his revenge on her leaving him behind in the nuclear devastation. And I'm very interested to see how they sort of survived and got to the outpost themselves, because of the fact that they were on a plane that was sort of being autopiloted to sort of get them out of the initial explosion. But then how did they eventually end up in Outpost 3 is something I'm hoping that they'll tell in either the next episode or somewhere down the line. And the whole outpost was also really interesting, with the sort of color differential, with those in purple being like the royals and stuff like that, that they are the upper class people that get all the special treatment and get all this different stuff, and then there's the workers who are in gray, who are essentially just the slaves to the upper class people. And that was interesting, but it also felt really kind of weird because of the fact that with the lighting and stuff that was done, it was really kind of hard to tell who was in purple and who was in gray, in my opinion. But I guess you could kind of see it based on how everyone was acting too. Then Miss Variable and her sort of little group of people that are the head of the outpost, I'm very interested to see more about them, because the fact of how they were acting and stuff like that makes me question sort of what they're up to and stuff. Where a part of it, when they got dressed in purple outfits and stuff like that, made me wonder if they might actually be guests as well, and like they took out the matriarchy or the person in charge, so then they could be in charge and stuff like that. That's what I'm wondering, if maybe that took place. But then with how this episode ended, it kind of feels like she was supposed to be the one in charge the whole time. So that scene where she dressed in purple and stuff felt odd, besides the fact of her just wanting to be one of the royals for a little bit. And then the whole thing of her sort of writing her own rules and stuff, because of the fact that the people in charge of the outpost weren't really looking in on her, was interesting and fun to see, with her sort of messing with all the different people, from changing their diet plans to trying to divulged them into straight up cannibalism and stuff like that was interesting to see. And just how she sort of ran her rules and stuff like that was fun. And it was also really great how they always sort of made this sense of her coming because of the fact of the hitting of her cane on the floor. And that I really kind of like too, that she always seems like this very ominous presence, and I'm very interested to see what's going to sort of happen to her going forward. And then Timothy and Emily, I believe was their names, the two kids who survived because of the fact of their genetics make them sort of a good product for surviving or whatever it is. I'm guessing it's their genetics make a good thing for repopulation. But they were interesting to see with how everything sort of dealt around them, with mostly following Timothy and him sort of being pulled away from his family at the last moment before the bomb dropped and saved, but the rest of his family was killed because of the fact that they didn't have that genetic match that he did. So that was really interesting to see how that was just sort of quickly said and done, and then him meeting Emily and them forming this relationship, but they can't go very far because of the fact that the matriarchy makes it so they can't have any unscheduled like copulation and stuff like that. So that'll be interesting to see what will happen, 'cause no doubt they're probably going to go against that rule and eventually have sex with each other. So I'm very interested to see what's all going to happen with them and stuff like that, because of the fact that they seem like two leads that are not as disposable as the rest of them. And then just overall, this was such an amazing first episode, and I'm so excited to see what's going to happen in the next one with them now being sort of up for to see if they could be eligible to move to this new outpost that will have way more food and way more supplies for them to survive for such a long time. That I'm interested to see who's going to stay and who's going to go and stuff like that. And sort of what other characters we're going to be introduced to once they get to this new outpost. And just overall, yeah, this, like I said, this was an amazing episode, and I'm so excited to see what's going to happen next. So, yeah, that was my review of American Horror Story Apocalypse, episode 1, called The End. So, yeah, bye!